Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for staying with us over the last 5.5 hours. We've got still some more time to go, but the energy levels are not dropping because the mission is such. ये जिम्मेदारी हमें मिलकर लेनी है और इस सेशन में हमारे साथ जुड़ रहे हैं अक्षय कुमार, हमारे कैंपेन एम्बेसडर, हमेशा की तरह हमारे साथ हैं. सौरभ जैन of Reckitt is with us. And we will have many others joining us. Zaka is, of course, with me right here, right next to me, my good friend. And let's say good evening and welcome onto stage actor, mother, and of course, the champion for all causes, Neha Dupia. Please come on stage.
Sat Sri Akal ji.
Sat Sri Akal.
How
are you?
Hi Neha.
Hi.
So good to have you with us.
Thank you. Hi. How are you?
Great.
My God, this is a very strategic position. Firstly, standing between all these wise men. Then there's a huge expectation out of me to say wise things.
Okay, so now are we ready for it?
After you, sir.
After me? All right, I'm seeing you after so long.
I know.
You're looking beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, मेरा आपसे पहला प्रश्न ये है कि we are here on a mission mode, and the idea is, and this time as we take this whole cause forward, you've joined us in the past. We've talked about Swacchta, we've talked about the need to save Paani. But I want to ask you, what is the real challenge that you have faced? You're now an influencer. You are talking to people. You're traveling. Have you faced, as a woman, really on ground, what's the challenge that you faced and what do you think needs to change?
Firstly, on a lighter note, I think the biggest challenge I've faced is that you've called me an influencer, because what influencers do is so hard. So to always make that messaging right in those 59 seconds is hard. But coming to the most serious topic over here, which is water. Of course, you know, if you're talking to me as woman, a mother, an actor who's been on the road, I would imagine that I have to answer this question by splitting it into 3 equal halves.
Good.
And you know, let's just backtrack. I think the time that I spent on the road has been one where, you know, you're always like, acha, abhi nikalna hai, kahin jana hai. So like, you know, let's just make sure that what if you don't have the right kind of toilet, the right kind of facility, where can you go? And as a woman, it's much harder. I just feel like, you know, do men really think of these things? They don't, because the facilities, I feel, are lacking in some way. More than that, I feel even if one has the facility, it's also the kind of facility there is. And I feel like we're a large part of not making it really comfortable, because the minute we hear, okay, it's public or the toilet is public, we don't treat it like our own. So that's why it becomes even more uncomfortable for us to use it. I've been on the road. I've done a couple of, you know, shows where I've had to be on the road for almost like 60 days at a stretch. And you're like, okay, you also, I don't know if it's an experience, but for me, it's brief, because we wake up, we go to the toilet, we have a home, but I've also experienced that. And I think it's much harder for women who have to go through this every day of their lives to be able to do this. My shoots have permitted me to do that, but I genuinely think the lack of facility is something that we need to talk about, we need to harp upon, we need to highlight, we need to underline every day of our lives, and what you guys are doing is amazing.
I want to talk to you a little bit about, because you've said this in your social media work as well, about mothers who are coming back to work. One of the things we don't talk about enough is, you know, kids-friendly toilets where you can change diapers, feed them sometimes. I mean, long ways to go before we get there.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that you're talking about this, because, you know, I mean, of course, it's been very long since I've spoken to Akshay also at length, but, you know, there are multiple things that one does, and after becoming a mom, I started a breastfeeding community called Freedom to Feed. Of course, it started as one voice, and we have almost 50,000 women who tell us every day as to what they're going through. तो जो सबसे बड़ी जानकारी, शिकायत या फिर you know, जिसे कहते हैं कि ज़रूरत या असुविधा जिसकी बात करते हैं ना, वो बोलते हैं कि हमारे पास जगह नहीं है, हमारे पास टॉयलेट नहीं, we don't have a safe space for our child. And I think as a mother, you don't need anything else. You're just like, is my child okay? मतलब पहला आखिरी जो आपके दिमाग में जो प्रश्न जो होता है, is my child okay at all times? And I feel like there's such a shortage of facilities even there. I mean, हमारे आसपास हैं, but what happens when you go deeper into the country, what happens when you travel, what happens when you make larger plans. You're just stuck with that bag.
No, but facilities हैं, लेकिन है ना लोग ध्यान नहीं रखते हैं. That is एक बहुत ही बेकार सी चीज़ है. मैंने देखा कई जगहों पे फैसिलिटीज़ होती हैं, लेकिन अंदर जाके देखो तो उन्होंने ध्यान नहीं रखा होता, इस्तेमाल बराबर नहीं करते हैं, गंदा होता है, ख़राब होता है, मतलब कई जगहों तो कीचड़ होता है, सब कुछ, मतलब बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं. फैसिलिटीज़ सरकार ने बना के दी हुई हैं, लेकिन उसका जो ध्यान रखना है, उसको अपनापन जो देना है, उसको ये सोचना है कि ये हमारा खुद का है, वो नहीं रहता.
जी बिल्कुल. एंड व्हाट यू आर सेइंग इज एब्सोल्युटली राइट. वही तो बात हो जाती है. द मिनट यू थिंक इज पब्लिक ना, तो हम सोचते हैं कि
किसी और का काम है साफ रखना.
There are so many places where now and over time you also must have noticed, Akshay, you've been on the road for so long and shooting, and you must have seen कि मतलब even as simple as if you look back 15 years ago or 10 years ago, जब हम मुंबई से पूना भी जाते थे ना शूट करने, 3-3.5 घंटे की वो जो ड्राइव होती है, तो हम सोचते थे यहाँ पे बाथरूम चले जाते हैं, फिर सीधा हमको होटल मिल जाएगा. Now you can stop literally everywhere, but because there are facilities, but everywhere is always that question in your head, यहाँ चले जाएं, is it clean? साफ होगा. Now you're exactly taking your point forward. I feel there are facilities, but how we leave it is upon us.
All right.
See, this thing is about etiquette. आपको क्या लगता है कैसा एटिकेट, मतलब क्या लोगों को सीखना चाहिए इस एटिकेट के ऊपर?
I think just to make sure, मतलब बहुत साल पहले, I don't know who did it, was it, I think it was a government run initiative की एक ad आती थी कि जब वो कचरा बाहर फेंक रहे हैं, और वो हमेशा बोलते थे कि ये जो बाहर है वो भी आपका घर है, so make sure that you keep the outside also clean, and then everybody started making sure that nobody was littering on the road. So
all right.
It's literally that, right? You know,
Okay.
you have to make sure.
So you're talking about, work on toilets. We now have joining us from all the way from Nigeria, a gentleman whose work on toilets, in fact, led to the WTO coining the World Toilet Summit. And of course, one of his goals became an SDG. Jacksim, thank you so much for joining us here on Mission Swacchta or Paani. First things first, tell us about how your nature of work itself has changed over the last 10-15 years, and how the UN, no less, is now putting emphasis on toilets, cleanliness of toilets, and on sanitation and on hygiene. Just walk us through it briefly.
Nigeria is very enthusiastic in solving its sanitation crisis. About half of their population are still openly defecating, and the Nigeria Minister of Water Resources is a champion for Clean India campaign led by the President of Nigeria. So we are getting top level support in this World Toilet Summit at the Transcorp Hilton Hotel. All the ministers involved, like water resources, health, environment, education, they are all coming. And also the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations will be coming together with the President of Nigeria. So it is a very high level, powerful meeting, very similar to Swachh Bharat, where Prime Minister Modi led the Clean India mission. I think this is going to be African Swachh Bharat.
Yes.